Today on MTG Unpacked, we're getting stuck into a new Commander Legends 2 Dungeons & Dragons Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander deck. So this is Mind Flayarrrs. So clearly a pirate theme here. The commander is Captain Nugathrod, legendary creature, horror pirate. And let's see what we got here. So we have a collector booster sample pack. 100 card deck with 10 new cards, deck box, 10 double-sided tokens. We've got the display commander, life rule, strategy, insert, and reference cards. So let's get into it. So this very much a theme of milling and stealing your opponent's stuff. So if that's the sort of gameplay you like, this deck could be for you. We've got some punch-out cards here. And a very snazzy deck box. That guy looks suspiciously like the character, I think it was Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And we have also a very stylish life counter. Goes up to 40 and counts down to 1 on the other side. We've got a flyer about the deck. We'll take a look at that in a second. The deck itself. And the aforementioned collector booster sample pack. So after saying in the previous video that you're not likely to pull anything good at all out of these, somebody was saying they got one of the best cards in the set. So whatever, let me know what you pull if you've got these. Okay, that's not bad. This is actually the other commander we looked at yesterday, Nalia de Anise. So a mythic, not too shabby, and Val Candlekeep Researcher with the showcase art. So we'll pop those over there. And let's take a look at the flyer here. So we have Mind Flayarrrs, so playing the deck. So you can read about there. You aren't just trying to mill all their cards though. You're able to steal their stuff as well, and commander rules here in case you're new to the game. There he is. And on the other side, some lore if you were wondering about Captain Nugathrod. Here he is. I probably mispronounced that. My Lovecraftian pronunciations are not always the best. Okay, so let's get into the deck itself. These go for about 45 to 50 bucks US. It varies, and you can still pick up the Commander Legends 1 decks for about 20 bucks. So let me know if you think that's a good deal or not. Let's take a look at the display commander here. So thicker card stock, still with the foil etching there. So that's replacing the oversized commanders they used to do. And then we'll cut the deck here and take a look at what we have. Starting off with Captain Nugathrod, I think that's how you pronounce it. Legendary creature, horror pirate. It's a mythic, 3/6 for 5. Horrors you control have menace. Okay, so we've got lots of horrors in this deck, I'm expecting. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. Nice. And at the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from their library this turn. Put it onto the battlefield under your control. I'm liking this deck more and more. Just read the first card. On to the next. We have Zelix, Sanity Flayer, another foil mythic legendary creature horror, 2/3 for 3. Has Hive Mind. Whenever a player mills one or more creature cards, you create a 1/1 black horror creature token. And for 1 tap, target player mills 3 cards, and you can choose a background. So that means you can have a background as a second commander, which usually, yep, here's our background. Another foil mythic, Haunted One, legendary enchantment background for 3. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, it and other creatures you control that share a creature type with it, each get +2/+0 and gain Undying until end of turn. And you can read the text there about what Undying is about. Arcane Signet. This is a pretty common include in commander decks. Artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Mind Stone, artifact for 2, tap 4, colorless for 1, tap, sack it. You get to draw a card. And Command Tower, it's a land. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. You'll see that in tons of commander decks as well. Fact or Fiction, instant for 4, reveal the top 5 cards of your library and opponent separates them into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Ooh, this one's cool. Dorthai Horror, creature Dorthai Horror, 2/1 for 2. Shadow, so it can block or be blocked by only creatures with shadow. Dorthai Horror can't be blocked by white creatures, and liking the artwork on that one. Next up we got Dusk Mangler, creature horror 5/4 for 7 as additional cost. Cast a spell, sack a creature, discard a card, or pay 4 life. And when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life. So again, you're milling out your opponents 1 card at a time. Feed the Swarm, sorcery for 2, destroy target creature or an enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. And Phyrexian Rager, creature Phyrexian Horror, 2/2 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Plague Spitter, what on earth am I looking at there? Creature Phyrexian Horror, 2/2 for 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, Plague Spitter deals 1 damage to each creature and each player, and when it dies, it deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. And Ravenous Chupacabra, this guy was in Ixalan. Creature Beast Horror, 2/2 for 4. When it enters battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls. And Siphon Mind, sorcery for 4. Each other player discards a card. You draw a card for each card discarded this way. Next up we have Drown in the Loch, instant for 2. Choose 1 counter target spell with mana value less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Destroy target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. So countering spells or destroying creatures. Extract from Darkness, sorcery for 5. Each player mills 2 cards and you put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So stealing your opponent's creatures, fantastic. We've got Dimir Keyrune, artifact for 3, tap 4 blue or black. And for blue and black, it becomes a 2/2 blue and black horror artifact creature until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. Next up we've got a Dimir Signet. Artifact for 2, pay 1, tap, you get to add blue and black mana. Ever-Flowing Chalice, artifact for 0, has multi-kicker 2, and it enters battlefield with a charge counter on it for each time it was kicked. Tap to add colorless mana for each charge counter on Ever-Flowing Chalice. Herald's Horn, okay, this is a nice one. Artifact for 3, as it enters battlefield, choose a creature type. So you're going to pick horrors in this case. Creature spells you cast of the chosen type costs 1 less to cast. And at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Lightning Greaves, another nice commander card here. Artifact equipment for 2. Equip creature as haste and shroud, and you can equip it for 0. Mind Crank. Artifact for 2, whenever an opponent loses life, that player mills that many cards. And the ever-popular Soul Ring, artifact for 1, tap for 2, colorless. Talisman of Dominance, artifact for 2, tap for colorless, or you can tap, add blue or black, and it deals 1 damage to you. And Thought Vessel, another nice one, artifact for 2, you have no maximum hand size, tap for colorless. And Ash Baron's land, tap for colorless, has basic land cycling 1. Dimir Aqueduct, okay, so we've got some lands in the middle here. Enters battlefield tapped. When it enters battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, tap for blue and black. Myriad Landscape enters battlefield tapped. Tap for colorless for 2, tap, sack it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. And Path of Ancestry enters battlefield tapped. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and when that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. And Port of Carfell enters battlefield tapped. Tap for blue, and for 3 blue, 2 black. Tap, sack it. You get to mill 4 cards and return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And Aboleth Spawn. Okay, so this is a new one. Creature Fish Horror, 2/3 for 3 with Flash. Ward 2 has Probing Telepathy. Whenever a creature entering the battlefield under an opponent's control causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, you may copy that ability. Nice. You may choose new targets for the copy. So you're stealing the ETB effects of your opponents as well. Endless Evil, Enchantment Aura for 3. Enchant creature you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted creature, except the token is 1/1. And when the enchanted creature dies, if that creature was a horror, return Endless Evil to its owner's hand. Ooh, this one's creepy. Grell Philosopher, creature horror wizard 1/4 for 3. Has Aberrant Tinkering. So when it enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, each horror you control gains all activated abilities of target artifact and opponent controls until end of turn. You may spend blue mana, resort, or mana of any color to activate those abilities. More stealing goodness here. Psionic Ritual, sorcery for 6, has Replicate. So tap an untapped horror you control and exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Exile Psionic Ritual. Okay, so the mana cost on a bunch of stuff here is quite high, but I guess the idea is you cheat things out of the graveyard, so that's probably one way to make things cheaper or free. Brain Stealer Dragon. What on earth? Looks like it's got tentacles coming out of its mouth. Creature Dragon Horror 6/6/4/7 with flying. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of each opponent's library. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and if you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana, resort, or mana of any color to cast it. Whenever an online permanent an opponent owns enters the battlefield under your control, they lose life equal to its mana value. And From the Catacombs, I think we saw this one in a deck yesterday. Sorcery for 5, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control with a corpse counter on it. You take the initiative. If that creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. And you can escape it for 3, 2 black, and exiling 5 other cards from your graveyard. So that's a mechanic they had in, what's the name of the set? Can't think of it right now. It'll come to me. We got Uchulon, creature Crab Ooze Horror, star 4 for 4. Its power is equal to the number of crabs, oozes, and or horrors you control. And it has Horrific Symbiosis. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target creature card from an opponent's graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Uchulon. And Chasm Skulker, creature Squid Horror 1/1 for 3. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker, and when it dies, create X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Chasm Skulker. Okay, so there is half the deck. Let's take a look at the other half, and then we'll get stuck into the mana base. We have Forgotten Creation, creature zombie horror with Skulk, 3/3 for 4. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand. If you do, draw that many cards. And again, more milling goodness. Fractured Sanity. This one's fun. Each opponent mills 14 cards. Say sorcery for 3 blue. Cycling 1 and a blue. When you cycle Fractured Sanity, each opponent mills 4 cards. So that can really do a lot of damage there. Grazilax Illithid Scholar, legendary creature horror 3/2 for 3. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. And whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Hullbreaker Horror, this is another fun one. Creature Kraken Horror, 7/8 for 7 with flash. This spell can't be countered. And whenever you cast a spell, choose up to 1. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand, or return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And Leyline of Anticipation, enchantment for 4. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. You may cast spells as though they had flash. And Mind Flayer, creature horror, 3/3 for 5, has Dominate Monster. When Mind Flayer enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. And Overcharged Amalgam. Creature Zombie Horror 3/3 for 4 with Flash and Flying. And Exploit. And when it exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. And Pull from Tomorrow. Instant for X and 2 blue. Draw X cards, then discard a card. Reflections of Lichjara Enchantment for 5. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. So again, picking horrors in this one. Sludge Monster. Creature Horror 5/5 for 5. So whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put a slime counter on up to one other target creature. Non-horror creatures with slime counters on them lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 2/2. That is awesome. Wharf Infiltrator. Creature Human Horror 1/1 for 2 with Skulk. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. And whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi Horror creature token. And Black Market Enchantment for 5. Whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on Black Market. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add black mana for each charge counter on Black Market. And Crippling Fear. Sorcery for 4. Choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3 until end of turn. So you could probably turn that into a bit of a board wiper depending on the circumstances. Curtain's Call. Instant for 6. Whoa. Undaunted, so it costs 1 less to cast for each opponent. Destroy 2 target creatures. And Dark Hatchling. Creature Horror 3/3 for 6. I nearly said 5 there. Flying. When it enters battlefield, destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. Dross Harvester. Creature Horror 4/4 for 3. Has protection from white. And at the beginning of your end step, you lose 4 life. Whenever a creature dies, you gain 2 life. And Guilt Feeder. Creature Horror 0/4 for 5 with Fear. Whenever Guilt Feeder attacks and isn't blocked, defending player loses 1 life for each card in their graveyard. And Hex. Sorcery for 6. Destroy 6 target creatures. When killing 5 just isn't enough. That's pretty brutal. And Hunted Horror. Creature Horror 7/7 for 2 with Trample. When it enters battlefield, target opponent creates 2 3/3 green centaur creature tokens with protection from black. I was going to say 7/7 for 2. That's a bargain, but there is a downside. In Garrick's Wake. Sorcery for 9. Destroy all creatures you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. Night Howler. Enchantment. Creature Horror 0/0 for 3. Has Bestow for 2 and 2 black. Night Howler and enchanted creature each get +X, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Whoa, okay. You're going to fill those graveyards and have a crazy powerful creature. Nihilith. Creature Horror 4/4 for 6 with Fear. Has Suspend 7 for 1 and black. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if Nihilith is suspended, you may remove a time counter from Nihilith. And Sewer Nemesis. Creature Horror star for 4. As it enters battlefield, choose a player. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in the chosen player's graveyard. Whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that player mills a card. Nice. So this guy just gets bigger and bigger. Woe Strider. Creature Horror 3/2 for 3. When it enters battlefield, create a 0/1 white goat creature token, sacrifice another creature, scry 1, and it has Escape for 3 and 2 black. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. And I just remembered the name of the set. It was Theros Beyond Death, which had the escape mechanic. Woe Strider escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Consuming Aberration. Creature Horror star for 5. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your opponent's graveyards. And whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land card, then puts those cards into their graveyard. And Memory Plunder. Instant for 4. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. What an incredible bargain. Nemesis of Reason. Creature Leviathan Horror 3/7 for 5. Whenever it attacks, defending player mills 10 cards. What? That is insanity. Phyrexian Revoker, artifact creature, Phyrexian Horror, 2/1 for 2. As it enters battlefield, choose a non-land card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated. And Psychosis Crawler, artifact creature, Phyrexian Horror, star for 5. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. And whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. And Spellskite, artifact creature, Phyrexian Horror, 0/4 for 2. So it has this Phyrexian mana here in blue. You get to change a target of target spell or ability to Spellskite. And you can pay that cost either with blue or 2 life. Okay, so that is the deck. Now we'll take a look at the mana base and tokens here. So starting off here, we have Choked Estuary. So this is for blue and black. When it enters battlefield, you may reveal an island or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, it enters battlefield tapped. And another blue-black one here enters tapped for 1 blue and black. It becomes a 3/2 blue and black elemental creature until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. It's still a land. Another one for blue and black. So you pay 1 and tap. Darkwater Catacombs. Drownyard Temple, tap for colorless for 3. Return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And Exotic Orchard, land, tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Nephalia Drownyard, land, tap for colors for 1 blue and black. Target player mills 3 cards. Another nice include there. River of Tears, tap for blue. If you played a land this turn, add black instead. And another blue-black one enters battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Another one for blue and black. Temple of Deceit enters battlefield tapped. When it enters battlefield, scry 1. And Rogue's Passage, tap for colorless for 4 tap. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Tainted Isle, it's land, tap for colorless, tap to add blue or black. Activate only if you control a swamp. And Temple of the False God, land, tap for 2 colorless. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. And then we'll take a look at the basics. So we've got islands. 9 of those. And swamps. So I think that was 11 there unless I miscounted. And then the tokens. What have we got here? So the initiative. So whenever 1 or more creatures the player controls deals combat damage to you, that player takes the initiative. And then you've got this aspect of venturing into Undercity, so that's on the other side. We've got a 1/1 squid with Island Walk token, copy token on the other side, another squid, copy, squid, copy, okay, a bunch of those, another squid copy. 1/1 horror, and on the other side we've got a centaur 3/3 with protection from black. Another horror and centaur, horror and an Eldrazi horror. Okay, 3/2 and horror 1/1 with Eldrazi, horror 1/1 and Eldrazi. And parts of the turn, popular Magic formats, which if you're watching this video, probably you're thinking about Commander, or maybe it is your favorite format. So this deck actually looks tremendously fun. I've had a lot of fun with mill decks in the past. They're sort of painful for your opponent if they have to start milling their whole deck, but that's all part of the fun. Leave a note in the comments what you think about this deck. We'll be cracking open the remaining 2 over the next couple of days, so stay tuned for those. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.